Hello, my name is Pedro, and today we're going to talk about pay in, or how to receive money, basically. So before we see this video, we strongly suggest for you to see the other videos that we've made regarding the introduction and how to create a sandbox account, because those concepts are going to be very inherently necessary for you to understand what we're going to see here today. So in order to receive money, we first need to create a QR code. Today we're going to learn how you can create a static or a dynamic QR code. So let's first delve right into the dynamic QR code, all right? So here you can see in this environment that we have, you're using Postman here. You can check out this collection in the description. So you can see here in this request body, in which that we have the virtual account, which is the virtual account that you have already created. We have a counterparty, which is basically the person that is receiving this payment. The tax number here can either be a CPF or a CNPJ, which is basically the document that the person is holding, and the name of the person that you're wanting to send this payment or receive in that case. So here you can see that you have an amount, which is an integer value, and below it you have the external ID. That's an interesting one. You can send an identifier from your environment to ours, so you can consult it afterwards. And below it you also have the description of the transaction as well as the expiration date. So I'm gonna make that post request. Let's see what happens. Nice. So you can see here, it's actually pretty fast. You can see that you have already created a QR code, the dynamic one, let's not forget. And it has some data attached to it. You have the bank account ID. You have the counterparty ID. You also have the description that I told you about, the entity ID, which represents the virtual account ID. And you have both a hash code, which is a copy-paste code, and the ID of that QR code. So that ID I can use to look up the image of that QR code. So as you can see here, I'm gonna insert that ID that I received, and then voila, I have a base64 encoded image of that QR code that I wanna send to my customer, right? So we've created a QR code. Whenever a payment is made, an event is triggered, and you will receive a notification in the webhooks you've created. So we can see here a notification. In the body of that notification, you can see that you have a category related to payment document. That's a document that we've created before. And then you have a collecting document. That's the receiving, the pay-in that we want. Nice. And then I want to check if that transaction is related to the transaction that we've created. So I want to come back to Postman, and I'm going to take my external ID to compare with the collecting document. And there it is. It's the same one. So that's the transaction I'm looking for. And has this payment been made? Yeah, actually it has. As you can see in the type, if it says settled, it means that the payment has been made by your customer. So we're going to go now to the static QR code. So when I go to Postman, you see that the endpoint changed from QR codes to QR code/static, and you have less parameters in the request body. Being I don't have to send a counterparty if I don't want to, right? So mostly they're all optional. I'm going to send basically a similar external ID. I'm going to put trio at the end because I want to. And I'm going to create that static QR code. So again, we're going to assume the payment has already been made for this static QR code. And I'm going to see whether I have received a notification or not for that collecting document. And I have already opened it, of course. As you can see here, you have a collecting document, same thing. And I'm looking for my external ID. There it is. Remember, I said it's going to end in trio. Nice, there it is. And it says settled. So my client has paid that QR code too. So we've created both dynamic and static QR codes and received payment through them. That's nice, but what if I want to refund those payments? I can do that as well. So if I want to make that refund, I need to get the ID of the document that was created. As you can see, it's this document over here. I'm going to copy that ID, and I'm gonna do a document slash collecting document ID slash refund request. So it's the same ID that I'm using there. And of course, for the purposes of this video, I have already made that request and scheduled a refund. And the notification related to it is here. As you can see, it's the same category, collecting document, which has the same ID, and it has a type refund. So it has refunded my payment that I've received, and now I have it all laid out in my ledger. So this is how you can refund a payment that you have received. That's great. Now, if you have any questions, you can check out our documentation or contact us. Thank you very much, and see you next time.